Hey, this podcast holds nothing sacred. This is Life, Tech, and Sundry. And what is Sundry? It's our experiences put in a melting pot to the internet. So join us on this wild ride called the LTS Podcast. Follow us at LT Sundry on Twitter, LTS.pod on Instagram, Life, Tech, and Sundry on YouTube, and all your favorite podcast distribution services. Stay frosty.
Welcome back to the solo studio. Well, the driver's seat for another session of LTS Out of Office. I'm Marcos, and today I'm weaving a tale of how social media has been hyping spaceships out of space rocks, while the real steal of the Artemis program by NASA is hard at work paving the soul for man in the final frontier, exposing why the internet is obsessed, really obsessed with space ghosts in the void, while a vibrating metal that just got hauled off the launch pad this week of February 2026. We're breaking the Oumuamua fever dream, the dark history of cosmic cults, and the gritty February 2026 reality of NASA's Artemis 2 mission. Let's get into the reality of the void, kicking it off with Celestial Siren, the Celestial Siren, by the way. The dark philosophy of space hype, the shadow of Hale-Bopp. Let's talk about 1997. While the rest of the world was looking at Hale-Bopp comet as a once-in-a-lifetime sky show, unfortunately, 39 people in San Diego were looking at it as an exit ramp, if you will. If you know, you know. They weren't just watching a comet. They were waiting for a saucer they believed was hiding in the shadow. The Heaven's Gate tragedy is the ultimate grim receipt for what happens when the need to believe, if you will, overrides the will to survive. It's a dark reminder that space isn't just a place for science. It's a canvas for our deepest, more dangerous delusions. The digital Kool-Aid. Fast forward to 2026 present day. We aren't all joining cults, right? I hope so. Hopefully. We aren't all joining cults, right? Hopefully. But we're all drinking the digital Kool-Aid every time a blurry 10-second TikTok of a UFO goes viral. The algorithm creates a micro-cult, if you will, of believers who prioritize secret knowledge over the actual boring data. The math is simple. The more mysterious the claim, the higher the share count. It's a business plan for social media, if you will. In the eyes of the algorithm, a ghost ship is always more valuable than a gravity-bound rocket. It's called pareidolia. Our brains are literally hardwired to see faces in clouds and intent in the stars. We project our tech, light sails, engines, cabins onto the silent laws of physics because the alternative is accepting that the vacuum is vast, cold, and lonely. But once the smoke clears from the old cautionary tales, we have to look at how the same desperate need for a quote-unquote sign has mutated into the viral tech fever dreams of the modern era. The interstellar ghost. Why the Oumuamua hype died. Again, you guys don't know how hard that was for me to say. One more time for the take. Oumuamua, a visitor from the void. In 2017, we got Oumuamua. Not gonna stop saying it because I'm so excited of how I'm saying it right now. It was the first time we confirmed an object from outside our neighborhood was passing through. It was shaped like a cigar. It was tumbling and it was fast. Naturally, the internet didn't see a rock. It was a scout. The acceleration anomaly. Scientists call it non-gravitational acceleration. Most figured it was just gas escaping because it was being hit with the sun and it was heating it up as it exited, so it created jets as it was leaving the solar system, so aka gas escaping. But when Harvard's Avi Loeb suggested it might be a derelict alien light sail, the headlines exploded. Suddenly, we weren't looking at a piece of interstellar debris anymore. We were looking at a quote-unquote confirmed alien visitor. The data was thin, but the story was thicker than peanut butter. The dopamine fizzle. But here's the thing, Oumuamua didn't stop to say hi. It just kept moving. And because we didn't get a part 2 or a high-res photo, the dopamine loop broke. The algorithm got bored. We didn't debunk the quote-unquote alien ship. We just scrolled past it. It's a perfect example of how the YouTube algorithm prefers a haunting mystery over a hard truth, creating a feedback loop where science is always forced to compete with the speed of a scroll. The Great Projection, a history of scientific errors. The Mars Canal fallacy. And this isn't now, by the way, this isn't new. It's not. In the 1800s, astronomers convinced the world Mars had irrigation canals. They thought they were seeing an advanced civilization saving a dying planet. In reality, they were just seeing the blood vessels in their own eyes, reflecting in the lens. We've been seeing what we want to see for centuries. The Cydonia Monument, remember quote-unquote face on Mars? From 1976, single low-resolution picture from Viking 1 launched 1,000 conspiracy theories about Martian monuments. Decades later, better cameras showed us the truth. It was just a pile of shadows and volcanic rock, a mountain, not a monument, breaking the echo chamber. Whether it's AI monopolies or the quote-unquote ghosts in our cybersecurity, we're still chasing shadows. Real impact doesn't come from legends we build. It comes from the hardware we can actually touch and verify. Yes, while we've been busy chasing those ancestral ghosts, a much more tangible metal-clanging reality has been quietly unfolding. On a launch pad in Florida, brace yourselves. The steel reality, the February 2026 Artemis crisis, the VAB rollback. As of February 25th, 2026, while we're talking about ghosts, NASA's wrestling with actual steel. The past Wednesday, the SLS rocket, the most powerful built by NASA as of today, had to be rolled back to a hangar. A 4-mile trek that took 10 hours just to get out of the wind and troubleshoot a helium flow issue in the upper stage. The April window, the March launch window, gone. We're now looking at no earlier than April 2026. This is the reality of deep space. It doesn't care about your schedule or your social media hype. If a valve doesn't work, nobody leaves the planet. The crew in the shadows. I want to highlight the humans involved here. They've been doing flight drills as recently as mid-February. These skills have to constantly be sharpened because if they get rusty, they can lose their lives. And we don't want failure on the human side. Unfortunately, it's the mechanical part, the steel that's failing us. So these guys have to be constantly training and retraining to not lose their skill. They're locked, loaded, and ready, but they're currently waiting on a helium valve. That's the grit of the mission. What about the Artemis 3 pivot? Well, as of February 27, 2026, here is the massive receipt. NASA has effectively postponed the moon landing. Artemis 3 is being redirected to a low Earth orbit test for 2027. We aren't landing yet. Tell over myth. The first human boots on the moon in over 50 years? We're looking at Artemis 4 in 2028. It's noisy, it's expensive, and it's frustratingly slow. But unlike a viral space rock, this is made of real metal, and it's the only path that actually leads to the stars. Because at the end of the day, no matter how many viral clips we watch, the real soul of discovery isn't found in a blurry pixel. It's found in the grit it takes to actually leave the ground. Now, what's the verdict? On my side, at least. The romanticism of real science. Science, the soul in the machine. There is more soul in the sound of 4 humans breathing inside the Orion capsule than there is in any AI-generated alien rendering. The risk, the sweat, the sheer human audacity to build something that fights gravity. That's the real interstellar messenger, reclaiming the wonder. We need to stop waiting for a part 2 from The Rock and start getting hyped about the slow stuff, the valves, the code, the rollbacks. That's where history actually gets made. The quote-unquote final frontier isn't a movie, it's an engineering challenge. Because at the end of the day, Oumuamua was just the quote-unquote junk food of space news. The Artemis 2, that's the full course meal. It's complicated. It's stuck in a hangar as of this morning. And the landing just got pushed to 2028. But it's actually going to put boots back on the moon. If you want more deep dives into the future tech and space without hype, hit the subscribe button. And look, if you want to keep the conversation in orbit even after this car's parked, blast off over to the description. You'll find all the links to the podcast down there. Don't leave me hanging in a vacuum. Give us a follow so you never miss a mission. I'm Marcos. This is LTS Out of Office, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully with a launch date. Stay curious, stay frosty, and stay grounded.